So planning is one of those tasks which is a necessary evil. You find, like at the moment, while we're actually working through this and we're juggling it, while it does help us to keep on time, it is really, really important when we get to industry to know about them and how they work when you're working to large tasks to stipulated deadlines. Okay, so before we actually get here, you should have actually come through the work and you now understand your actual problem. And then based on understanding your problem, you've worked out who the project's for, what they'll be learning, the tools and requirements, and then you'll actually have a requirement report finished, which we can then start to use. So planning, there's 3 different areas that we're mainly looking at. The first one is action plans, the steps that you need to take. The second one here is time planning, so that we can actually work out our actions to the times that we're actually doing them. And then the final thing here is it's a resource plan where we can actually see the equipment that's actually going to be needed for both the developer and the user for it to be a success. Okay, so let's have a look at action plan here. When I first handed out this task, I worked out that there was actually 14 weeks to do the task itself. And we know that we started with understanding the project and we have to finish with a presentation. Okay, so we have this plan laid out now and we are predicting the actions that are actually going to occur in here. So in understanding the problem section, if we go back up here, we did some analysis and we got a report done, and then you can work out how many weeks that you think that could actually take. So in reality, it should have taken us about 2 weeks. So I'm actually just going to merge those cells there. Make our life nice and easy. All right, it's going to take us about 2 weeks to do. So as you go down, you find that the next one here is going to be planning. We know that is a definite, and I would say that that should really only take you a week. Next, we go down, you start adding in your designing, implementing, and testing and evaluation, and working out where you think you should have each of these. The final thing that we've actually got here is the presentation. Okay. So if I actually go to my calendar and week 14, I can see here in August 28th, the IPT task is actually due. So I can now come back and add that to my actual action plan. 28th of the 8th, 20. So I know that it should actually occur then. Now, here again, actual actions taken. This is where I write in what I've done. And what you're going to find is that if you guys haven't done this section yet, you're now into about week 3 or 4 of the project, and you'll find that you're going to need to fill those in as you're actually going. Okay, so you work this out. Here, this is predicted actions. I'm guessing I'm going to take this time here. And then from here is when you're putting in the dates of your actual action, okay? So here, on your actual action on the presentation, you'll be presenting your finished project to the class. Okay? And that's what we're actually doing there. That's what you'll actually be doing on the 28th of the 8th. Now, the benefits and concerns, you're actually filling this out as you're going. So, for example, if you haven't completed this first section of the task, when you're writing it in here as your dates, a concern would actually be that you're not on track, that you're running out of time. And the next thing you need to do is indicate what are you going to do about that. Must do extra homework, must catch up. What are you going to do to actually do that? Again, this is for your benefit here, and we're looking at you keep predicting your actual actions and that you're thinking. This thinking is the main concern here. Now, quite frankly, are you going to get in trouble if you don't actually keep this on time? Officially from the school, no. But technically for your project, yes. And that's what this is about. This is your planning, your diary, not mine. So once we've actually worked all of these out here, we can then start to come down and do a Gantt chart. The Gantt chart itself is one of those things that you probably would have done since year 8. So I'm not going to sit here and waste too much time on it. Basically, your task name here should align your predicted actions. And then from there, your weeks, your 14 weeks, should actually accommodate these dates that you've actually got as well. So, and look, there's many different ways that you can actually do this. I'm not going to tell you the best way or the worst way to do it. The main thing is you've got steps, the task's name or the step's name. You actually have the calendar details in here, and you're presenting a flow chart for me to show how you've taken it from understanding the problem to delivering your presentation. Yep. The final step here, and quite importantly, is your actual resources. You need to start thinking about what resources that you actually need as the developer and what resources the users actually need to be able to interact with your project. So for example here, as a developer, you're going to need access to the Canvas learning management system to be able to develop the course. Here, the users need to be able to interact with it, but they don't need the same level of access as you do as the developer. Now, in between these two, there's going to be a crossover, like you're both going to need computers. So in this case here, I'd actually put in, can I actually just do this? Insert. It doesn't actually allow me to do it by the looks of it. Yep. What I was looking for was a text box. Insert a text box and put in computer here. This was actually done on a drawing, so I can come back to the drawing here and then add a text box and just type in computer. Other things that you'd actually type in would be internet access. Canvas you'd want to have in here as well. Let me go new box. Administration rights to Canvas course. Whereas this one here, the user would actually be less than that. It would actually be needing access to the Canvas course. But you can see here, both need computers, both need internet access for it to actually occur. Okay. So essentially, that's basically your planning that you need to do for your project. Your action plan, steps that you're actually going to be taking, aligned to a diary of your needs or as what's actually happening. A Gantt chart to show how your project actually takes you from start to finish based on the actual dates that you're doing the project in. And finally, a resource plan so that we can actually work out what tools and equipment you need to ensure success. Thanks for listening. Give it a go. And as always, if you have any requirements for help, please let me know so I can jump in and give you a hand. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.